What, you thought you wasn't gonna see us? Yeah, right. I know it's Halloween and it's time to trick or treat and get the kids out there, but the sun is still up, and so we decided to come at you before you do all that. And its skin is going to be Anthony Richardson, and what are these Colts going to do? So, Sammy, go ahead and start me up, please.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
What's good? How y'all doing? Before we start, let's just get into our weekly promos and all the things we have to do. Chris, I'll let you get this one.
Absolutely. Glad to be back. And I know we're seeing us early, seeing us in more natural daylight, so I appreciate that. But you know what? It promises, or it's promised to be a month of tricks, treats, and of course, touchdowns. You know, touchdowns, all that good stuff that we look forward to with Colts Nation. You get me. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the number one place to bet touchdowns. If you're new to DraftKings, try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. I think what do we pick? What do we pick for this past Tuesday, Clyde?
We had Anytime Mike.
Anytime from Michael Pittman?
Yes, sir.
Anytime Michael Pittman, that's going to be our pick. And like I said, we're going to double down on that. And we'll talk about why we're going to double down later. But here's a reason for new customers to do a touchdown dance of their own. When you bet just $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SICKSPORTS. That's SICKSPORTS. No spaces, all capitals. That's code SICKSPORTS for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you just bet $5. Only in DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
All right. And now we will officially start our show. Damn, I missed that. Yes, sir. Chris, man, Chris. Yo, what it is. Are we quite the laughing stock? I don't think so, but we are definitely the talk of the town when you talk all things NFL. And you know what? From my Facebook constant back and forth and the X post and all that, I'm fucking over it.
Fair enough.
But let's just kick it off with this, bro, because I was totally floored yesterday. Everybody's talking about what Anthony probably shouldn't have said after the game Sunday. Yeah. Shouldn't have said, "Yo, I was tired." Lie there. Why doesn't Shane Steichen get that same, in my opinion, critique? Because, buddy boy, that was probably the worst presser of all times when I can remember a head coach having the floor and being asked very specific and direct questions, and the answers are not even bullshit. I mean, Bill Belichick gives you bullshit. These were just clearly like, what are you saying? Everything was a contradiction.
Yeah.
And nothing was clear. Simple questions. Do you think we'll see Anthony Richardson again, start for this team? I can't predict the future. I mean, that'll be great. That'll be awesome. We'll see. What?
But that's what we've come to expect from Shane, though. Like this is the same Shane Steichen that week in and week out, even when you see guys practicing, if they're coming off of an injury, this is the same Shane Steichen will say, "Hey, do you think we'll see Jonathan Taylor?" It's just like, we'll see how things go. Like he's literally going to give you the most 50-50 answer he possibly can. That's who he is.
But doesn't this situation require a little bit more than that because we're talking future, we're talking franchise, we're talking, number 4 overall pick. Like this isn't Jonathan Taylor could be up, could be down this week. This is I'm going to Joe for the rest of the season, and you know what? I can't tell you Anthony's time is over, but we're not giving up on him. Very contradictory.
Yeah, but if not anything else, he's consistent. And the one thing that we've gotten from Shane Steichen is the fact that he is somebody who is very consistent. There's no super up, there's no super down. He's going to give you here because the thing is for him, he's focused on football. Like that's his thing. We like spoke to him at training camp this year. Super duper football guy. You can go ahead. It's hard to get him to even really talk about his family like that. Like this is somebody who's focused on the football aspect of things. Now, one thing that I will say, and one thing that I've said, Shane Steichen is taking a lot of heat that Chris Ballard needs to be cooked for. Because the thing is, we've been saying Shane Steichen, and the only reason why I believe we're hearing so much about Shane Steichen is because we haven't seen Irsay. We haven't seen Ballard. When was the last time that we saw Irsay other than a tweet?
True. I don't know if it's still his, he had the illness in the offseason. They were taking it slow with him. I don't know, bro. I don't know. You're right. I get it. And he said that he had a small little, powwow with them. But ultimately, as the head coach, he made this decision. Okay, so be it. But then there's other things that I feel like you said consistent. I give you that. But I think that there's very simplistic things that he even looks like, even though he's a second year, he looks like a rookie coach still. Because think about this. Questions asked. Okay, well, switches made. Cool. We understand. What's the climate and the culture of the locker room? Will the team rally around Joe? I can't speak for the rest of the team. The answer is yes, the team will rally around Joe. Like fucking lie. What do you mean you can't speak for the rest of the team? What does that mean? If you're going to tell the truth then Anthony can tell the truth. I'm tired. I don't fucking know.
That's it. But that's like, so so there's two ways that I can go with that, right?
Okay.
So the thing is, he said, I can't speak for the rest of the team.
Fair.
This is somebody who is, once again, just giving you exactly what it is. Because the thing is, ultimately, he's just like, look, I understand the nucleus of this team. I understand that this team has veterans that have been here dating back before Frank Reich even was there. So the thing is, I'm not going to go ahead and speak for them because the thing is, they have to be able to go ahead and decide that on their own. One thing that I will say is that Shane Steichen did make calls to certain veterans and let them know about what was going on. I think Ryan Kelly was somebody who spoke on it, who said that he reached out to him to let him know what was going on, which means that Shane Steichen is aware of what's going on and what's happening when it comes to this team. He's aware of the fact that he has to make sure that he draws up the best X's and O's that he can, because at the end of the day, grown men are going to have to go out there and operate and do what they need to do. And he can't speak to emotions, but what he can speak to is production.
Okay.
And so
No, keep going. My bad.
Yeah, and so I don't fault Shane for speaking the way that he speaks because, when it comes down to it, we could say, yes, they're going to rally around Joe Flacco. Yes, they're going to do you're basically telling everybody, look, you're going to get behind this guy because this is exactly what it is. I think for him, he's just like, listen, you guys are going to make sure you do that. Maybe he's having different conversations without being in front of the camera, because I do feel like he may be somebody who does speak to those people and does let them know certain things outside of when he's in front of media. But I just think right now we're looking for answers from him that he may have already answered to a group of people. Remember, they said Anthony lost the locker room. We haven't seen anything that indicated that at all.
Facts. But that was so that's my second part of that, because why then was it selective if he spoke to, guys like Kelly and Zaire versus, Michael Pittman? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't he a captain? Isn't Michael Pittman a captain?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so why did he find out apparently he found out via social media? I don't care what anybody wants to say. I know exactly what Josh Downs said, so we don't have to go here and try to do that. But the tone of what he said and kind of just like the feel of what he said was, I won't say that he wasn't happy, but I'm sure he's like, yeah, like this ain't the future of the team. So I mean, again, we're not supposed to, look at all these little fine details and then make it more than what it is. But for me, it's so like, why not bring them in there? Like you said, okay, y'all had a closed door, cool. You had a closed door with Joe, okay, cool. Now address the team. Team's addressed. Hey, get with it. That's where we at. Press. Like I don't know. This seems very remember Varsity Blues, remember
Yeah.
he only had his select few. I don't know. I want to say he's definitely not Kilmer. Don't put the needle in the ankle, because I mean Jonathan Taylor would have been in there 1 week, be 1 or 2 weeks earlier. But more so just kind of how that's kind of selective, and I don't know if he has the whole team. And I mean, well, we'll see, bro. Because the question also that lit up for me, the Stephen Holder question, he was like, "Hey, look, man." I'm not quoting verbatim, but he's basically like, "Yo, if this doesn't work out, are you prepared for that?" And basically, Shane was like, "Yeah, I'll address that at that time." So,
hey, that's a Shane ass answer. Like, yo,
oh shit, that's gonna be hilarious. And of course, we're not rooting against the team by any means. But I'm just saying, like, if the plan was, because you go back to what Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen said when they drafted him. Do you remember that presser?
Yep.
Like, and when he talked about how a guy like, he talked about Terry Bradshaw might not have even seen the field in today's NFL because of his situation, and like how patient they were going to be. Where'd that go?
Yep. No, it definitely it sounds very different now, because what they said back then and what's been done leading up to that has been two very different things.
Complete different thing.
And is like I said, I feel bad for AR. I kind of feel bad for Shane, because I really do feel like Shane is at the mercy of Chris Ballard on this one.
Yeah. So you think Chris Ballard said, "Let's dial it back"?
I think so too, because I mean,
I still think it's primarily Shane.
Yeah,
I think Shane. So I think it's Irsay via Shane.
Yeah.
So, and what I mean by that is, I think, like I said, I feel like big NFL was like, "Yo, man, you got a fucking quarterback tapping out. What you gonna do about that?" They got private talks. Then Irsay's like, "Yo, we got to discipline this boy." And then he's like, "Okay." And he was like, "And I'll be the last say in that." I think it's more Irsay than Steichen. And when the last say is Joe Flacco has his 10 for 30 day. Sacks, a fumble or two.
It's, what, it's, to me, it really just does seem like it's kind of like it's a trickle down. It's Irsay, then Ballard, then it's Shane. And also, let's call a spade. Chris Ballard has been somebody who has preached development more so than anything else.
Across the board, all positions.
And the thing is, like I said, again, we've seen that for 7 years. Now, for me personally, going according to what he said after the Carson Wentz year, he said, and I quote, "The clock doesn't start until you draft a quarterback." So when you go the route of knowing that you have a couple quarterbacks who, are a little bit older, because mind you, AR was the most inexperienced of those 4 quarterbacks that you had there. You had Bryce Young, you had CJ Stroud, you also have Will Levis.
Mayonnaise.
Exactly. The Mayo maniac himself. Yeah. And so, but the thing is, if there was any quarterback that preached to development in that draft out of those 4, it was AR.
Facts.
So, and the thing is, for me, and I'm not saying that because it's just that's what it is, but the thing is, we can also talk very candidly. If Ballard was really looking to go ahead and just make sure that you're just jumping out of the building and going for the sure prospect, you're going to potentially trade that to go for CJ Stroud.
Oh, big facts, which I had actually mentioned. I remember having a very colorful conversation with the boys on this pod, and I was like, CJ Stroud by far should be the overall number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah.
And so when Carolina made the move, I'm like, they see that too. And they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. They clearly did not.
Fuck. Because my whole thing at the draft, I remember being in KC, I was like, fuck, he's in our division. division now. I was like, I'd rather Carolina take him, and we don't even have to worry about him. Like we no comparisons, no look what he's doing within the division, whatever the hell it may be. He's over there on the East Coast somewhere, and ain't none of our business. If we can't get him, nobody can get him, and Carolina screwed the pooch.
Exactly. But then you look at the design. You see, we picked AR.
Yep.
Stayed put and picked AR. But then you go to the press conference, and then once again, Ballard mentioned, 2 to 3 years for that development.
Oh yeah, big facts.
Because he was a green prospect, but the athleticism, everything jumped off the page.
Yep, I remember.
He preached 2 to 3 years for development after already being in the position that he's in for 5 years, which means that he ultimately gave himself a little bit longer of a lease to be able to just be there because of the fact that that you have this guy who's going to take some development, which is going to be some reassurance, which is going to mean that, okay, you do have some time to kind of get it together. And best case scenario, he gets it together earlier than expected. Worst case scenario, what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, it takes exactly what you think. 3 years or whatever it may have you. And that's where we are, man. But again, I'm ad nauseum with this. I don't think I can I can't explain my position anymore. I can't repost anything. I've seen every stat. I've seen every comparison. You name it. I know every statistical low he has. Mm-hmm. I'm just done with it. I'm tired of fans talking about, this and this. We should have never drafted him. He's a crybaby. Again, we have the worst fan base in all of the league. I don't care what anybody says. Sorry if that offends you.
I can't say that. I can't say that.
Who's worse than us?
I can't say that with Cowboys fans living and breathing. No.
They still love their team, and they just hate what happens. We actually hate players. Like we wanted Andrew Luck to absolutely walk the plank and fall into the Caribbean.
That's fair.
But then this is how cynical and crazy we can be at times. And then they bring them back to life during this whole AR thing. It was like, oh, how dare you, compare the two, one quitting versus it. Like, no, you labeled him a quitter. I remember actual people that are on our page that spoke very vividly about that, and these are the same folks that's like, no, you can't compare the two. Quitting is quitting, bro. Like one play or your career.
Yeah,
you don't get to throw a lacerated kidney into the conversation suddenly. Like, nah, bro. Like we said that in
it's just like you can't say that and then put context on it. You said it.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. We're insane, bro, and it's fine. It is what it is. I've been a Colts fan for damn near all my life. And it's okay. And I'm just over with it. So now, Chris, we get to walk into Sunday night, in which was a flex game that we found out about 2.5 weeks ago, which was still exciting because, we didn't have any prime time this year, but now we do. But it's a different flavor now because all week, everybody's been piling on. So focusing on that game.
Yeah.
Where are you? What are you expecting? What are the outlooks? Talk to me about what you think is going to happen Sunday night.
So let me tell you this first and foremost. I hate it here, okay? Because I hate it here. Like this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, and it's because of the fact that we don't have everything that's happened in the last 2 to 3 days is now overshadowing the fact that we're playing this primetime game that we've been flexed into. And so now you're looking at this as, oh, well, we see that there's going to be a huge discrepancy. We see that there's going to be something here that's going to cause this to not have the same luster. Like, never have I not been excited for a primetime game. And the only reason why is just because of the fact that, I think Brian Flores came out yesterday and he spoke highly of AR.
Very highly.
Talking about the fact that it's just like he brings different dimension. He brings these different things. And I have no doubt in my mind that, the Vikings, I think if you put AR out there, they do have to play him a little bit differently.
Fair.
Because to me, that front seven isn't necessarily that great. I think they're good, but I just don't think that they're that great. And I mean, we saw it with the Rams. The Rams were able to expose the fact that the secondary isn't what it's cracked up to be. But now the problem is that they don't have to game plan the way that they potentially would have to deal with somebody who has the escapability and has the ability to extend plays the way that AR did. Now, mind you, AR hasn't played the best, and we're not going to make any ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I think you also can't be two-dimensional with your game planning when it comes down to AR, because you know that he can hit you in multiple ways if he's given those opportunities.
Right.
The thing is, Joe
hit a big play. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Flacco is not coming with that same type of reputation, or he's not going to strike that same type of fear in you.
I mean, he can get rhythm. He can get hot. He can get rhythm like he did with Jacksonville, and it could be a long, long day for a secondary. I mean, Joe just seems to like wake up and be ready. But the issue becomes just like Jacksonville. I won't even say figured out, because they didn't really figure out shit. But just like Jacksonville ended up doing, they started bringing too many that we could block, and then that game was, oh shit, Joe's gonna get sacked.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes. Like, oh, he's killing us through the air. Then bring too many, and they can't block everybody, and that's what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like I said, it's just, it worries me because you have two sides of the ball that you have to deal with, and the thing is Gus Bradley going to show up with an improved defense, or are we going to see Gus Bradley standing everybody up like they're out there doing freaking cookout line dances, like like you're hearing Frankie Beverly and Maze Before I Let Go, like what do we what's gonna like everything that's been happening with this team has overshadowed the fact that this defense still isn't really that good either.
Yeah, man. You know what my outlook is on the entire Sunday night, in all honesty.
I gotta see.
Because you know what? I don't really have any more aspirations. I don't really have, and it's not that I'm giving up on the team by any means. But what I'm saying is, this is the wrong time to have a prime time game, right? Because all of the hoopla prior to it is going to be about what happened this week. All the questions. I mean, Buckner got up today and spoke, and I would have loved to just hear him talk about, hey, how was it, coming back? How's the ankle feeling? Where can the defense improve? Blah, blah, blah. But he had to spend the first, it's like a 9-minute session with him. He spent like the first 4 minutes speaking about Anthony Richardson. Again, this dude plays defense. Of course, the quarterback is the leader of his team, but like, he plays fucking defense. So everybody who's getting the opportunity to speak, that's the fucking first thing they ask. And then, of course, like I said, all the talking heads in the media and all Sunday Night Football, we're going to hear them as we leading up to it, talk about what happened. And I'm just like, this is the wrong time, because now all eyes are on this game. And if this game turns out to be terrible Monday morning, guess who you can't blame, boss?
You can't.
You can't blame number 5 Monday morning.
Mm-mm.
So, man, you want to talk about shit? I bet you right now the pressure or the stakes it probably feels playoff-ish.
Yeah.
Because they know if they go out there and lose, but not even just lose. If they go out there and actually get a little lopsided in the loss, it's going to be, well, Anthony Richardson didn't do that. I mean, he didn't play great.
Exactly.
Every game was winnable that he's been in, right? I mean, that's what you're going to get. And I mean, Joe has, again, lost to Jacksonville like every other quarterback over the last 8-9 years, and he's beat Tennessee. So that's the resume this year is that.
And I think a very specific stat we're going to be watching is, win or lose, what is that margin going to be? Because we've in every win and loss this season, in all 8 games that we've played, that margin has been 7 or less.
7 or less.
So the thing is, if for some reason, let's just say if we win by 10 points, then that's going to be a big deal because of the fact that will be the first time that that's happened. If we lose by 10 or less, then the questions are going to be, is Joe Flacco really that much more of a sure bet?
everybody has spoken about what is the plan. Is it win now and at best, like we discussed, you go to the playoffs, get smoked in a wild card, maybe make the division, or is it, let's see if this kid can play so that we can come into next year knowing what we got and we can continue on with this building process. But to me, right, this Joe gives us the best chance to win shit is desperation. Like I spoke on Tuesday night, I feel like it's because we haven't won in so long, and Joe is the best reserve / starter, if you will, that we've had when it comes to production, overall production and play and recent play. Maybe you can argue Phillip Rivers the year he had with us, but like I think that they say, man, we got all the pieces healthy, with the exception of line now, because it's probably gonna be without Bernard Raymond on. Don't Let's put that out there. Left tackle going to be reserved probably because of the concussion protocol. But it's just interesting to see like what this actually means and what it does, because like I said, I don't think this is a win-win for AR, or I don't think it's a win-win for the team, because it furthers the distance of potentially bringing AR back, right?
Yeah.
Like if Joe wins, AR definitely is not coming back. If Joe struggles, what are you saying when you bring AR back? Unless it's injury laden, like how, Andy Dalton got hurt in Carolina, and so now Bryce is back up. Like, this is kind of a shitty place to be. You know what I mean? So Sunday night, man, like, of course I'm a Colts fan. I'm going to the fucking game. I've invested in tickets to go and flights and all the other shit. Of course I want to go to Minnesota and experience the skull and see the new stadium and all the great things, and root for my team. But at the same fucking token, bro, like, why is it always me? I care too much. I care too much. Oh, myself.
But you know what? But you know what? You mentioned something at the beginning of that also has been a talking point, and it's this term "win now."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I hate to inform everybody, this isn't a team that's in win now mode.
Yeah, because win now is insinuating like championships, right? Not just 10 wins.
And not and like I think the biggest part of that is there's been no move that signified that this team is in a win now mindset. Teams that go into win now mindsets, like for example, the Ravens the other day, I guess they got some bad news in regards to one of their receivers. They went out and traded for Deontay Johnson,
without hesitation,
who by any stretch of the imagination is actually a very, very viable, guy when it comes down to who they're able to get. I think it might have been the Texans. I could be wrong, but I think the Texans went and signed Devin White out of free agency, after he just recently got cut. I mean, the Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins,
quick.
Who the thing is, he may be old, but the thing is,
serviceable.
Absolutely. And mind you, he immediately becomes the best receiver they have, not named Rashee Rice, because Rashee Rice has been hurt. Nice. When we're talking about teams that are in win now, we're talking about teams who have spent considerable amounts of funds, who have traded for certain pieces to be able to make sure they're supplement. The Chiefs are always in win now, because the Chiefs are always trying to make sure they're winning. The 49ers are always in win now, because they're always making sure that that they have the team together that they can do this for.
You could even add down the Eagles, because they have been conditioning themselves like that the last 3 years.
Exactly. And the Eagles now are in win now mode. Like, we're not in win now mode, because the thing is, we're a team that's set up to be hopeful. we are hopefully we will win now. If not, give us 2 to 3 years. Like, literally,
be patient.
We've been rebuilding this house, and then we finally went and looked inside the house and realized that it was made of old El Paso taco shells.
You know what's funny? Like, you can take it from Kings of Comedy when Steve Harvey said the building fund on the damn church, they put a doorknob on the some bitch. That's where we are. We've been building, bro, but like, do we have doorknobs? Because there's a thing to all of your points. And I'm going to make the most unpopular opinion maybe ever. And everybody in the fan base will probably, call for my head and tell me to step away from the mic. But hear me out. If we had a top 5 defense with a struggling Anthony Richardson, this team is much more dangerous than the defense we have now and the pieces we have now with Joe Flacco. So when you say, could we win the Super Bowl? I think we could be in the mix because we would be that complete as a squad. Though you need a quarterback to win, you can manage your way to a championship if you got a defense. Ask Trent Dilfer.
I was going to say you read my mind, but that's what we've come to see, because we can go over all the losses that we had this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every single game that we've had that's been a loss is a matter of possibly forcing one turnover or getting a stop. I mean, we can go down the line. We lost to the Texans, 29-27?
And guess who made the play on the sideline? Nico Collins.
Yes.
That sealed the fucking on the 3rd and 12.
And then also the Packers game, that was 16-10.
Nasty.
That's something, and the thing is, that's just not being able to stop Josh Jacobs. But then let's go into Jacksonville. If we're talking about Jacksonville, we let them score 37. If that defense even remotely stops the run, that's a game that they lose. I'm going to say probably 34-23.
And if we don't allow Trevor to just pick us apart, because you know what? We like to put our corners at 9 yards.
Yes.
And every time we're going to give you 7 and make it 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1, move the sticks, do it again. And so, yeah, man, do I want to flip this as, oh, Anthony Richardson is terrible, but the defense is that much more terrible? No, but what I want to say is it's a complete team victory or it's a complete team loss. You could take the situation down in Houston. Defense played solid until they couldn't stop certain things.
Yeah.
And that's the point, bro. Like, you got to get off the field. We struggle with getting off the field. It's the reason that time of possession is lopsided in every game.
Yep.
I mean, sure, we got to do our part on offense, but a lot of times I watched the game. What game was it? Oh, fuck it. It was you're right. It was the Packers. They had the ball for the whole quarter.
Yep.
On like a 14-play drive or something unreal. Like, I've never, like, you want to talk about some shit that you don't see often, like that you don't see. Y'all had the fucking ball for the whole quarter to go 100 yards, dog. Like, Jesus. What are we doing here?
And that's one reason why you look at this team and you're 100% like, if this team is even remotely a top 20 defense, the majority of these losses, I say you get back 2 of those losses.
6-2.
If you're 6-2 and you don't have questions about AR. But the problem is that the defense is allowing other teams to get this at a very, very high clip. And when the other team is able to impose themselves offensively, that means that now, and mind you, the defense not being able to play, it affects the whole team. Because if we're looking at the defense isn't able to get them off the field. That means that now you have less time to work with. God forbid the other team, I'm going to say, decides to defer the ball, kick it off to us, right?
Yeah.
They get the ball at half. If they literally control the ball for a half, now Anthony Richardson isn't going to be allowed to just work through his progressions and play up to the game plan. That means that now you're asking him to play hero ball, which was another thing that they said that they weren't going to subject him to in that presser when we drafted him. So the thing is, now what they've done is they've gone against every single principle they possibly have, because of the fact that you're dealing with a GM who is repeatedly choosing not to address the simple things. Darrell Baker Jr. and Dallas Flowers should have never made that roster on the 53-man. And yet Darrell Baker Jr. was gone within 24 hours, and Dallas Flowers was cut after he got flame broiled by Jacksonville.
Go back to last year. What was our favorite guy? Or was it 2 years ago? Gus Bradley brought him over from Oakland.
Brandon Faison. And mind you, he sat Isaiah Rodgers, who literally was emerging. You mean to tell me that you're going to bring a CB6 from the Raiders and you're going to say that he's going to be our CB2? What in the absolute hell made you believe that was a good thing?
Perennial special teamer, dude. He said a CB6.
Bruh.
We threw him in the
I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
Chris, we started him, suited him up, cuz this is who we believe we can win with. Oh,
and you know what? And the crazy thing is, it's Gus Bradley, and the only thing that Brandon Faison had going for him was that he was 6'2".
Dog, I've seen some Jason Davis of the world, Greg Tollers of the world. Jesus, we've had some shit shows at corner, bro. but Faison was top tier worst that I could think of. And I mean, we have to go down the list because outside of Vontae Davis for the time he was a shutdown, Gilmore, even though he's at the end of his career, we ain't never really had no lockdown corner in Indianapolis. You'd be like,
Yeah.
You can go all the way back to Ray Buchanan. Jesus.
Oh yeah. I think
nice.
Honestly, if we're looking at corner, I think you have Vontae Davis, and I think the next closest thing was Gerard Powers, but he had issues in terms of injury. But the thing is, he wasn't the shutdown. But the thing is, he was somebody who was absolutely just like somebody who was good for us.
We've always found corners that are just like, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. Marvell Tell.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Like why?
Marlon Jackson, Michigan. I mean, he sent us to the Super Bowl. We're gonna give him his credit.
I remember who was that one guy? He was slow as ever. And I think he was during the Pagano era. And I remember when they signed him, I'm just like, he's going to get cooked. And every single time I watched him play, I was just like, he just got cooked. Like it was, I can't remember his name, but only that, but he was like 32.
Okay, who got caught by Roethlisberger? Remember he had got stabbed in the leg. Nick Harper. Who are these dudes, bro? Like, and so see, as a GM, like I'm not even BSing. You got to leave your mark, right? So yeah, you got to have tons of football intelligence. You got to have tons of financial prowess to know how to cook the books when you need to cook them to make shit work. But you got to also know the history of the squad. This team has never had a dynamic, dominant. They are number one overall defense. I'm going to leave my mark by giving this team a defense. Indianapolis has always figured out how to score a touchdown. But you know what? They ain't never really, I mean, they have pieces. Don't get me wrong. We've had our fair share of onesie twosies, but we've never been like 1 through 11. This is, we the baddest boys in the league right now. Never. Never, not once. I would leave my mark, but I'm going to build a cold-ass defense. Straight up. And you know what? Every GM just doesn't think that that's a priority. So, I mean, I know it's trick or treat night, and we're just talking. So, let's get ready to wrap this up, man. Let's go with real quick. Let's go with some score projections, bro. What you got?
Listen. I feel like this is a game that could be very, very good for us. Could be very surprising. I want to say that I believe that this is a game that we'll win. However, I feel like this could end up. Oh my God, I hate it. I feel like this could be a loss. However, 21-15 Colts.
I got C.
Let's bring up Homage, man. Let's give a word to Homage real quick. Homage specializes in ultra comfy, high quality looks, repping sports, pop culture, and more legendary moments. Learn more about Homage with the link in the description. Again, that is Homage. They got some dope gear. They brought the starters back. Mm-hmm. Currently, they are sold out, but I have an email set to send to me when they get them back. So I'm definitely going to get that vintage starter. And then I think we got to do sick picks. I'm going to go with you there on that, Chris.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.
And this week's Sick Picks brought to you by good brother Clyde to be Michael Pittman Jr. anytime touchdown. Book it. And the thing, you know what? We have actually been giving y'all some picks. And I know we've hit on a few of them. So if you haven't gone and taken that into advisement, I advise you to go ahead and make sure that you're doing that now because you don't want to miss out again. Okay?
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Michael Pittman anytime TD.
And all we ask in return, just tell a friend about the show, make them subscribe to YouTube, have them, link up with us on Facebook, follow us on the X. Let's bring up the X handles before we get out of here real quick. Where are you at, Chris?
You can find me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan.
And you can find me. He never says Twitter. All right, he never says X. He says
I
Twitter.
don't say X.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
say
say
X.
No,
You can find me on the X at Colts Clyde, and I need to get more active. I am back, and so I'm trying to grow myself so I can become a verified dude.
Yes, my mama called it Twitter, so I'm gonna call it Twitter.
Big flex. And with that has been this week's Anthony Richardson wrap up. I hope to never speak about this again.
Ever.
Go Colts and all the things, bang that bish, and all the things that go with that. So again, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, the X, Facebook, of course. Tell a friend about us and all the things, man. So until the next show, we are out.
Yes, sir.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.